Over the last 2 seasons, Cody Bellinger has been one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball, and in those same 2 seasons, he really let his facial hair and his actual hair get a little bit messy. Well, he's back to business. He's back to his MVP look. He cut his hair, and a lot of Dodgers fans are rejoicing because whether you believe in superstitions or not, he's back to his MVP look, which could be a good thing. What's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB Recap. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If this is your first time on the channel, we do this almost every single day, aside from yesterday because I was recovering from my brother's wedding. But don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as well as use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off baseball tickets. Now, we have a lot to talk about. Giancarlo Stanton with his biggest moment as a member of the Yankees. We have Shohei Ohtani doing something crazy in the game versus the Mariners, and then also the Cardinals. They're on a 15-game winning streak. 15. Now, before we talk about the games from yesterday, I do want to talk about a few things from the day before. We have Cedric Mullins joining one of 6 active players in the 30-30 club. That is 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. You have Christian Yelich, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, J-Ram, and Ronald Acuna Jr. as the other players that have had a 30-30 season. It is just wild that Cedric Mullins, he stopped switch hitting and became one of the better players in all of baseball, so shout out to him. Not only did Shohei Ohtani make history yesterday, but he also made history the day before. He had 11 walks in a 3-game span. He is one of 2 players ever in Major League Baseball history to have that many walks in a 3-game span. He joins Bryce Harper. He did it back in 2016. And then last but not least, before we talk about the highlights from yesterday, Shane Bieber, he made his return after a long stint on the IL after he injured his shoulder. He was fantastic, and that almost brought a tear to my eye. All right, let's get into the games from yesterday, shall we? Let's go ahead and talk about this Reds versus Nationals game. Both starting pitchers were roughed up, so let's fast forward to the 4th inning when Lane Thomas, we've talked about him so much ever since he was traded from the Cardinals to the Nationals. He drives a ball out, and then Juan Soto, he gets on base courtesy of a single in the 5th inning, so that was the 3rd time of the game that he was on base. He raises his September on base percentage to .611. Either way, the score was tied going into the 9th inning with Nick Castellanos. He snaps his fingers like Thanos, and he ends the game. So the Reds, they come away with a 7-6 victory. They keep their season hopes alive. The A's, they do the same yesterday against the Astros. Framber Valdez and Sean Manaea, they had a little pitching duel yesterday, so lefty versus lefty. It was going to be who scores first. Well, actually, the Astros scored first. Kyle Tucker, he goes yard for the 4th time in his career off of Sean Manaea. It's just one of those things that Kyle Tucker, yes, he's a lefty, but he actually does pretty well against left-handed pitchers. Josh Harrison, he answers back and ties up the ball game, and Elvis Andrus is able to get on base and then score courtesy of a double from Starlin Marte, so he delivers in the clutch yet again. The A's come away with a 2-1 victory, and just like the Reds, they keep their playoff hopes alive. Now, speaking of the playoffs, the Rays, they clinched a spot yesterday with a win over the Marlins. Joey Wendell, he is a literal vacuum as a defender, and then he doubles in a run in the 4th inning to tie it up. Shane McClanahan tosses a fantastic game, 1 earned run in 5 innings. Mike Zunino gives him a W on his 32nd home run. Yandy Diaz knocks one home in the 6th, and Brandon Lau, he had 3 doubles in yesterday's game. He had one in the 7th, he had one in the 8th. I mean, he was just so good. So Tampa Bay, they win the AL East crown in back-to-back seasons, even though they are 26th in total team payroll. They just get it done by developing players and trading for the right pieces at the right time. The Yankees versus the Red Sox. Kevin Plawecki has been really solid for the Red Sox. He hits a home run in the 3rd inning, so he now has a .308 batting average and a 109 OPS plus in 85 games. Aaron Judge, he saves a run in the 5th with a pretty nice running grab, and then Schwarber, he ends up scoring anyways on a wild pitch, but then so does Gio Urshela for the Yankees. So the Yankees were down 1-2 going into the 8th inning when Giancarlo Stanton, in my opinion, his signature moment as a member of the Yankees, one of the more savage swings of his career. He now has 33 home runs, 91 RBIs, and an almost 137 OPS plus. Bobby Dahlbeck, yes, he smacks one off of Chappie, but Chappie gets it done. The Yankees are on a 2-game winning streak, and oh my goodness, the wild card race is going to be a wild dash to the finish for the final week of the season. The Angels, they beat up the Mariners yesterday 14-1. Shohei Ohtani ropes an RBI triple, and then he scores on a Gosselin groundout. Luis Rengifo, he has been playing much better over the last few weeks. He goes yard in the 2nd, and then Ohtani does it again. He brings in Brandon Marsh on a triple, so he is now tied with the bad man Akil Baddoo at 7 triples to lead the American League. The Angels score 8 runs in the 3rd inning as Tyler Anderson, he has been pretty good for the Mariners, but he got messed up for 9 earned runs yesterday. You have Jared Walsh making it 14 runs total in the 5th inning on a 2-run double. And Ohtani, I just want to mention this. Not only did he join Bryce Harper as one of 2 players in Major League Baseball history to have 11 walks in 3 games, with those 2 triples, he became one of 2 players joining Willie Mays to have 45 home runs, 20 plus stolen bases, and 6 plus triples in a season. And oh yeah, he struck out almost 140 guys, and Mike Trout came out and said that Shohei Ohtani is the MVP. I mean, Trout knows a thing or two about the MVP, so I'm going to go with that guy's opinion. George Springer, my goodness, I am so happy that he is on Toronto because now the average baseball fan can cheer for him without really bringing up what happened in 2017. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, what the Astros are doing presently in 2021 between Altuve, you have Correa, you have Springer doing his thing. I'm pretty much over what happened. I know a lot of Dodgers fans will never forgive them, but I'm over it. The Astros are insane. Robbie Ray was pretty good, but we'll talk about him after the Teoscar Hernandez home run. That was his 31st of the season, and then Marcus Semien connects for his 43rd home run, so he ties an MLB record for most home runs ever hit in a single season by a second baseman. Robbie Reagan, he works around 4 different walks. He strikes out 6 in 6 innings. You have a 2-run Springer dinger later on in the game, and then Danny Jansen, he adds another run on an RBI single or a double, I can't remember. So the wild card in the AL is looking like the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees tied. We have the Jays at 2 games back, the Mariners at 3 games back, and the A's are 4 games back. Moving over to the National League, we have the Cardinals winning their 15th game in a row. While I was away, the Cardinals, obviously, they won their 14th game in a row because Tyler O'Neill, he had a 3-run dong, and then Lars Nootbaar had 2 home runs. Harrison Bader, he started yesterday's game with his 14th home run. Tyler O'Neill has 32 home runs now and a 145 OPS plus on top of having elite sprint speed, and he's a top defender. I want to beat him for Halloween. Anyways, the Cubs actually go up 4-2 when Harrison Bader and Lars Nootbaar, they both combined to get the Cardinals back in the game, and then DeYoung has a sac fly. So the Cardinals, they use a 3-run 7th inning and a double play in the 8th inning to steal the momentum. Bader scores on a wild pitch, and then DeYoung has a 3-run nuke. And then also, I just want to mention Ian Happ has a 450-foot bomb to raise his OPS plus to 102, but unfortunately, it came in a loss as the Cardinals have won 15 games in a row, which is a franchise record. So it's looking like it's going to be Dodgers versus Cardinals in the wild card for the National League. But we do have to talk about the Phillies real quick because Matt Vierling saved this baseball. That was his first as a big leaguer, and then Bryce Harper hit a solo shot. He has an unreal stat line, a .313 batting average with 34 home runs and a 182 OPS plus. So he is 82% better than the average hitter. Bamboo Brad, he drives in the 3rd run, which was unneeded because Ranger Suarez, he has been the Phillies' best pitcher in the second half. 9 shutout innings, a complete game, 7 strikeouts on 97 pitches. So he had a Maddox. The Phillies have won 5 games in a row, and they desperately need the Padres to beat the Braves. So let's talk about that game yesterday. Both teams played like it was Game 7 of the World Series. Adam Frazier and Eric Hosmer, they're able to find some barrels, so they have a couple solo shots, and then Tatis, his error, unfortunately, turns into a run, and then Austin Riley, he ties an RBI singles in the 3rd and the 5th. Manny Machado, he answers with a grand slam, and he has been a monster since the spat with Fernando Tatis, so the score was 7-3 going into the 6th. Then it was 7-4 after Jock Peterson knocked in a run, and then Jorge Soler tied it. Oh my God, this game was insane. Victor Caratini, he answers, and then Mark Melancon answers back by blowing the save, and newcomer Daniel Hudson, he is unable to hold the tie as Soler and Albies, they make it 10-8, and Will Smith, he collects his 34th save. So with that loss, the Padres are officially eliminated from the playoffs. I cannot believe I'm even saying that. And another team that was eliminated, the Mets, after they lost 2-1 to the Brewers yesterday. Milwaukee, they get their lone 2 runs off the bat of Eduardo Escobar, and Corbin Burns, he took care of the rest. In 7 innings, he only allowed 1 earned run, only walked 1, and had 9 strikeouts. He lowered his ERA to 2.29, and he has an insane, a mind-blowing 1.56 FIP. I think that he, right now, because Max Scherzer got shellacked against the Rockies, Corbin Burns is the front runner to win the Cy Young in the NL. He hands the lead to Josh Hader, who has an easy 9th inning for his 34th save, and the Brewers are just 1 win away from clinching a playoff spot, and just like the Padres, the Mets were eliminated from playoff contention. The Giants faced off against the Rockies yesterday, and Brandon Belt, wait for it, Belts won. That was his 28th home run of the year after missing 50-plus games, but then he makes it 29 home runs, so San Francisco now has a record 236 home runs on the season. They have never hit that many in a single season ever. Steven Duggar, he bloops in an RBI single, and then you have Yaz following that up with a line drive to make it 7 runs. So San Francisco, their 2 wins in a row pushed them to 101 wins, and they're 2 games ahead of the Dodgers now because they lost to the Diamondbacks 7-2. Tel Marte and Carson Kelly have always been lefty killers, so Arizona, they end up with 4 after Dalton Varsho singles in 1 in the 5th inning. Zach Gallen, he really needed this start because he has a 4.37 ERA after having a 2.78 ERA in his first 152 combined innings. Only allows 1 earned run on 8 strikeouts, and you have Calhoun and Peralta adding a few more on some singles. Trey Turner, he hits 2 home runs, so he now has 24 home runs and 31 stolen bases to go along with a 321 batting average. He has been sensational. So the wild card, the Cardinals are ahead of the Phillies by 5 games, so I really think it's going to be Cardinals and the Dodgers for the wild card. But if we take a look at the NL East, the Phillies are just 1.5 game back of first place. They play the Pirates today, and then a 3-game series versus the Braves, and then they end the season versus the Marlins, so the Phillies really have to play well. Now let's go to talk about the final games from yesterday. The bad man says no. Akil Baddoo robs Hunter Dozier and helps Tariq Skubal, who was fantastic. 4 shutout innings, only 1 hit, but he was on a pitch count. John Hesley of the Royals was really good, 5 1/3 shutout, but the bullpen ruins his chances of getting a W. Miggy doubles in 2 after John leaves the game, and Candy adds another RBI double. He has 42 doubles. That is the best in Major League Baseball. Miggy has a 4 RBI day and is just 17 base hits away from 3,000. Cleveland, this might have been their biggest win of the year because J-Ram, he continues to be an MVP candidate on a 2-run shot in the first. Andres Jimenez, who was the big piece in the Francisco Lindor trade, he had his 3rd home run of September, and he has a 753 OPS in September, which isn't that great, but he was horrible to begin the year, so I'm excited about this, as well as Eli Morgan. He wants to be in the 2022 rotation. A week ago, he only allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings against the Yankees, and against a really good White Sox team, he went 6 shutout innings, only allowed 1 base hit. J-Ram and Franmil Reyes, they drive in a few more, and J-Ram on the season has 99 RBIs, 36 home runs, 26 stolen bases, and an almost 7 WAR. And then the Orioles beat the Rangers 3-2, even though Leody Taveras had a fantastic double play. He makes the grab and then throws out Gutierrez at home. It was 0-0 going into the 7th, but then Pat Felica has an RBI double right before Gutierrez. He gets his payback with a 2-run shot, and Dylan Tate, he secures a save. That does it for today's recap. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe out there and enjoy this day in MLB history.